Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports. This is the time of year that is really busy for me, and it's busy not just in personal things, like work and that type of thing, but I'm talking about for autographing. Now, if you follow my channel, if you're just coming here for the first time, many of you know that I'm a big autograph collector. Well, I typically don't share my in-person autographs too often on my channel. If you guys recall, last month in May, I did go to the Indiana Sports Hall of Fame, and I got autographs from Tommy John, and I also showed off this program that I got signed by a lot of them, and this is just a flyer from the event. So if you haven't had a chance to see that video, I definitely ask you to check that out up here in the corner or down in the link below or at the end. But I'm not going to talk about these items because these came right at the end of the month, last month, so I already covered them. But I just wanted to show you in perspective the last 30 days, basically, of autographing that I've done. And it has just been a hectic month, so to speak. And the first, it started off with this Indiana Sports Hall of Fame thing in Evansville. Well, the rest of that, I was all over the place. I went to multiple minor league baseball games over the past month, and I just kept accumulating a bunch of stuff. And I thought, maybe I should just share this on my channel. I think a lot of people might enjoy this. So I'm just going to jump right into this, and I'm going to talk about current players, I'm going to talk about current minor league players, and I'm going to talk about some legendary players from the 1960s in this video that I had the opportunity to meet this past month. So we're going to start this off with the first one that I got signed was this Baseball America, and it is signed by both people on the cover, and that is current Seattle Mariners pitcher George Kirby and current Seattle Mariners minor leaguer Emerson Hancock, who's currently in Double-A. But both of these guys were high first-round picks over the last couple years, and I actually bought this Baseball America last year. This was August of 2021 when this came out, and Emerson unfortunately got injured, and I wasn't able to get Emerson to sign this, but I was able to get George to sign it towards the end of last baseball season. So I saw Emerson earlier in the month, or early May, late May, whatever. And I said, hey, Emerson, I have the Baseball America with George already on it. I really would like you to sign it. And I didn't bring it into the stadium with me because I didn't want it to get damaged, and they're kind of goofy about what you can bring in the stadiums now. So I said, so after the game, is that cool if you sign that for me? He's like, sure. So while I was inside, I actually had this card that Emerson signed for me, and this is a dual Franchise Futures Bowman card. And it's actually signed by Zach DeLoach, and Emerson's on the other side. So he signed that one for me. And over the course of that series, he actually signed a second one for me as well. So after the game, I got Emerson to sign this, really nice and big. Got him to sign, I think these are just very cool dual autographed items of a very up-and-coming prospect. Like I said, George is already up in the majors with the Mariners, on their pitching staff. So hopefully Emerson's not too far behind. He'll be making his major league debut very soon. Hopefully he gets over his injury issues and he gets to do that. So that's the first one that I wanted to share with you. That is very cool. Now the next one I'm going to share with you also happened at a minor league game. And when I share this name, you're going to be like, yeah, I think I know who that is. Well, it starts out with Gray Kessinger. Gray Kessinger is the grandson of the great Don Kessinger, who played for the Chicago Cubs. Well, I went to a couple games this past week, actually, and Gray was in town with the Corpus Christi Hooks, and I, said to Gray, I said, your grandpa's, I said that I had his grandpa's autograph. Well, basically in that conversation, it turns out Grandpa was in attendance at that game that night. So I hurried up, I called my wife, And she actually went through my collection, and I had her bring to the ballpark. And if you guys remember this, I've shared this before. If not, check out the link right here in the corner and at the below. This is my Talkin baseball, Chicago Cubs edition, and I added Don Kessinger, his grandfather's autograph, to this record. And that's not the only thing I had him sign. Another thing that I collect, and I've been meaning to share them with you guys, are these old Surf Tops books. And in this book, I have multiple signatures in it. And on the back page, I'm not going to spoil it for you yet, but on the back page, on the autographs page, I had Don sign that as well. And the other names on here are Bob Dernier, Rick Russell, the late Bill Buckner, and this is Keith Moreland. And Don Kessinger signed that. And I have some big names in this book. Just kind of a spoiler alert. I'll show this to you in the near future. But this was getting a huge autograph from a huge Chicago Cub for many years in Don Kessinger. Very happy to get that in person. All right, so staying on the in-person route, the team that I see has a lot of roving coaches that come through every now and then. And one of those roving coaches is the great utility man, Cardinal legend, Jose Oquendo. Mr. Oquendo signed a couple 87 tops for me. I had these in my album with my Rovers. He signed those and took care of those for me, so I was very happy to get those signed. And another person that is a Rover for the St. Louis Cardinals is former relief pitcher Jason Isringhausen, and I had this 2006 composite photo, and I'm going to talk about Jeff Suppan here in a little bit, but I had Jason sign that, and on another night that I knew Jason was there, I totally forgot I had this in my collection until it dawned on me, but I have a Shea Stadium autograph, and the autograph in the corner, I had Jason sign right there in the corner, Jason Isringhausen. And I might go through this some other time with you guys. I did it with Yankee Stadium, so maybe I'll do it with Shea Stadium sometime. But I got Jason to sign these two photos for me. And in that same breath, we'll move on to Jeff Suppan and talk about how I ran into him also this past week. So I was at another stadium, and the roving staff for this team, I was getting autographs down by the dugout, and lo and behold, Jeff Suppan walks out of the Royals dugout. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize he was going to be here. So I hurried up and got my stuff out of the car after the game, and I waited for Jeff outside in the parking lot. And while I was waiting there by the dugout, another roving coach came out. And who was that? The other roving coach that was in the dugout was Mike Sweeney. The Royals' legendary hitter Mike Sweeney also played for the A's. But here's the cool part, guys. I had this card on me in my book, and I got Mike Sweeney and Jeff Suppan on the dual card at one game. The odds of having a card of both of the roving instructors in my possession were slim, but I carried this card around with me in my Royals box, just hoping one day maybe I'll run into Mike or Jeff. Much less I ran into both of them. I could not believe that both of them were in attendance at the game I was at. So Mike signed two cards for me. This retro Bowman TV one is really cool. I actually showed this to some of the players, and they're like, man, that's awesome. Look at him on TV. And, I was so pumped to get Jeff Suppan to sign this card for me. So Jeff didn't stop there. Like I said, I waited for Jeff outside the stadium. And he finally came out after a long wait. And I had these on me. I brought these with me to the stadium because usually when I go to a game, I just bring my Cardinal stuff, basically. And what did I have on me? I had a 2006 World Series 8x10. signed right there by Jeff. I have the celebration photo signed up in the corner there by Jeff. And finally, I have this photo. This is just my generic Busch Stadium photo that I carry around with me everywhere. And Jeff signed right there in the middle. I have some other names on here that you'll recognize, like I got Luke Voigt, I got Carlos Martinez, just to name a few. Some lesser named guys are on here, but this is actually Mike Gersh, the the general manager or baseball operations guy for the Cardinals. There's Tyler O'Neill right there when he came down on a rehab. So this is, like I said, just the generic Busch Stadium that I carry with me to every game in my book bag, just in case somebody shows up. I got at least Busch Stadium from to sign. So I was very, very happy to get that signed. Now, you're looking at all this stuff that I just got signed, and you'd be like, holy crap, that was a heck of a stint of getting autographs in person. I'm not done, guys. I got more. So in addition to all this other stuff that I got, and again, this isn't in chronological order, this is stuff that I've accumulated over the last month. I was at another game, and it turned out that a certain pitcher was going to be rehabbing for the Cardinals the following day. They announced it on the scoreboard, saying, he's going to rehab, buy your tickets, come see him pitch tomorrow. Well, I had a hunch. I thought, well, if that's a Sunday afternoon game and this guy's rehabbing, what are the odds that he might show up Saturday night at the stadium? And guess what? I was right. So my wife and I were walking around the stadium, and I looked down at a camera crew, and lo and behold, who do I see? Other than St. Louis Cardinal ace Jack Flaherty doing an interview. Now, this is the official scorecard that they sell at the Springfield Cardinals games, and so I happened to have that on me, and my wife was standing next to me, and she had one on her as well. So we called out to Jack, and I said, Jack, do you mind signing our a scorecard for each of us? He's like, yeah, sure, throw it down here. So we slid it down the wall to him where he was doing his interview, and he took care of both of us, signing both of those the night before his rehab. And we did not go the next day to see him pitch. He obviously was a little busy and probably not signing autographs that day at all. But we were very, talk about being in the right place at the right time. And that pretty much summarizes my entire month of autographing in person. Now, I'm not going to say that this is how autographing in person is for me every month, but for whatever reason, I want to say the autograph gods really shined on me this month. And they, I just had immaculate luck. Now that I'm sharing with you this luck, I'll probably have just miserable luck the rest of the year and never see anybody again. That's kind of how things roll for me usually. But to be able to have, the opportunity to get this Royals item signed by both Suppan and Sweeney at the same time is just unheard of. Being able to get Isringhausen and Suppan on this photo within weeks of each other, is just crazy to think that I happen to have this. Now, if I could just get, Albert Pujols and Molina on it, we'd be set, right? Yeah, right. But you never know. I might run into the right place at the right time. I know Jimmy Edmonds is a really good signer about things, and Scott Rowland's here or there, every now and then. I've even seen Chris Carpenter before, and even Molina's signed before, not for me, but for my wife. So you never know. I might get lucky again and see one of these guys and get him to sign it. So very, very happy with all the pickups. I could not believe that 80-year-old Don Kessinger showed up, at a baseball game. I was so happy to get that. And the stuff with Emerson Hancock. I mean, this is something that in the future could be a huge, autograph. Like I said, I got George Kirby to sign this already, who's already in the majors. I'm sure Emerson's not far behind as long as he can, stay healthy and get to the major leagues. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is a rarity for me to share in-person autographs. I look forward to your comments below. And as always, happy collecting.